I'm 19 and desperate now. I've been physically harmed for years. Ever since I was a child, I've been hypersensitive, very sensitive to what you call energies and emotions. I thought it was just part of my shy, timid character. However, my Asian mother would call me anak takutan, which means the fearful child, because I would fear the dark, spirits, and the unknown. Growing up in my house, I would feel the presence. Of course, it would be chalked up to my paranoia. But looking back, why was I afraid of everything in my house? It felt like I was borderline schizophrenic. I used to get sleep paralysis for years. I'd hear the woman's voice, the one that haunts me. I would get glimpses of this one spirit, once in the mirror and a couple of times in the corner of my eye. There was this weird incident when I woke up. Half of my vision was tinted blue, while half was normal. I was not breathing. Then I felt pushed back, and I could breathe again. Once, I read a prayer, and multiple incidents told me to shush. However, I had nightmares for years too. Many incidents where I was about to get killed, raped, or my family abandoned me. Before I left my house forever, I had a dream. This woman set my house on fire and told me to leave forever, or it would end my life. I would get scratches that were red and bloodied that can be as long as 30 centimeters. This can happen when I'm asleep and when I am awake. It happens with a burning sensation and happens in multiples. I know this sounds like it's not true or that I'm faking, but I swear this is what happened. However, the scratches stopped momentarily when I had a dream of this woman. A cage fell on top of her and she asked for my help. Usually in dreams, I see people, but I never, ever recognize them. You don't realize it is a dream. But when I see her, I recognize her. A realization washes over me. It felt real. Then I was awake in the dream, and I recognized her. She recognized me. The dream suddenly ended. Last night, I saw a momentary vision of her. It was 2 a.m. in the kitchen. It was a short vision, but she crouched, and she had this evil smirk on her face. I felt this presence creeping up on me. I prayed, of course. It did not work. My thighs felt a burning, itchy sensation. In the morning, I saw 10+ red, bloodied scratches on my thighs. My mother used to gaslight me and tell me it was nothing, but she would quietly speak to her friend about her paranormal experiences, which she obviously didn't want me to know about. Then, my father recently told me she heard voices. I confirmed this because whenever I am near my mother, I hear the voices of the spirits she talks about, 1 man and 2 women. What do I do, guys? Please help me. I want to end this once and for all. If you love spine-chilling horror stories, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a terrifying tale. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoy getting scared, and share it with your fellow horror lovers. It might just keep them up at night. Got your own paranormal story? Send it to us. We might feature it in a future video. This is a story passed down from generations of my family, and we live in Appalachia, so it may be completely bogus, but it still always really creeped me out. Growing up, my grandparents lived across the street from a dairy farm. The owner, an older gentleman, he's in his 90s now, had a deal with whoever came and tended to the cows every day that they could live in a house he owned without rent. It was small and pretty rundown. That house was next door to my grandparents. I had a girl who rode my bus around my age that lived in that house. My grandparents were heavily against me going to her house or really talking to her. At all generations of our family had said the house had evil spirits inside of it, and they were scared they'd try and follow me back home. As a kid, I never really questioned that. I will say, though, that we have all seen really odd things happening around the house. People never stay for long, and if they do, they get weird. A family moved in when I was in the 10th grade. It was 2 little boys, one in kindergarten and the other too young for school. One little girl who was in my sister's class. Then their mum and dad. Their dad worked at the farm. They were a really nice little family, kind of reserved but always polite. They had a goat tied up outside. Of course, my dad was convinced it had something to do with the evil house. I guess goats are some kind of evil symbol or something. They stayed for about a year, which is the longest anyone has ever stayed in that house since I've been alive, at least. One day, I was headed home from work, and police cars were surrounding the house and blocking the road. There was a chopper there too. I found out on the local news Facebook page that the woman next door had decapitated her 2 sons, fled to the woods, and was found and taken to prison, I guess. I think she actually ended up in a psychiatric facility after her trial, but she claimed to have been possessed by a demon inside of the house. Her daughter and husband obviously moved out of the house. I didn't ever see them come back for their things, which is understandable, but after what happened, I didn't think anyone would move in ever again. There were all kinds of whispers around our town about the evil in the house, and it caused a lot of fear surrounding it. Teenagers would try and sneak onto the property at night too, to try and see something while it was unoccupied, which was for 2 years at least. It might have been longer. Then, an older man and a younger guy moved in. We never actually met them personally, so I can't say that they weren't weird to begin with, but people always started acting strange after staying for a while. Or so I was told. I did see firsthand that the older man living there went from not going outside, really ever, unless it was to sit on the porch on a nice day, to pacing around the yard in the middle of the night and staring at this tree in the front for odd amounts of time. I had started working a night shift job when I graduated high school and noticed one day that he was walking back and forth in the front yard at around 3 a.m. on my way home. He started doing it every day when I passed by. It was definitely odd and made me think for a second that everyone's theories might be right. Me and my dad and some of my friends who would come over had all seen him staring at the tree. He would go stand in front of it and smile at it for probably hours at a time. This was at just odd hours of the day, like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I thought it was weird, but also, I don't know the guy, and he could have just had some issues. One day, he just disappeared. His truck and the younger guy's car were gone, and I never saw them again. That was when I was probably 19. I'm 23 now, and to my knowledge, no one has moved back in since. The older gentleman who owns it never really comes by, but he never did anyway. I've heard that people see shadows in the windows and see the lights on in one of the rooms at night. My dad said he's seen the lights on once while passing by. I will say that living in Appalachia, almost everyone around here is heavily spiritual and believes strongly in evil and good spirits. I couldn't tell you how many stories about different evils lurking around I've been told in my lifetime. Obviously, no one really knows if there's truth to it, but I still do some of the common nighttime rituals, just in case it is. Making sure your curtains are closed at night, even if you're in the middle of nowhere. Never reacting or responding to strange noises. Never sleeping with a mirror facing you, etc. I don't know if I believe necessarily that there are evil spirits or demons in the house per se, but it does have a heavy energy, I'm sure, after everything that happened there. I've never been allowed to go over there, so I don't have much else to go off of, besides the stories people have told about it.